My name is Louis Pérus. I'm a professor at the Faculty of Medicine in Laval University, and I'm a researcher interested in the genetics of obesity. Well, I've been doing genetics since 20 years. My research actually is interested at the genetics of obesity, eating behaviors, and I'm doing that research in that field since 25 years. I did my PhD and postdoctoral studies also in human genetics related to obesity and also cardiovascular disease, which are basically the diseases which are related to obesity. Well, I get involved with Nutopia because I was already involved in a small company with a colleague in which we were trying at develop testing to look at the susceptibility of people to gain weight. So that's why and when I was involved with Nutopia. Well, Nutopia is using genetic testing to get people engaged, knowing information about themselves, about the susceptibility to gain weight, and use that information to motivate these people to engage in new lifestyle or adopt healthy behaviors that could help them either lose weight or maintain healthy body weight. I think it's really important because you know that you can have a risk that is not the same as other people in the population, but you also know that you can get rid of this risk by adopting healthier lifestyles. That could be exercising, having a healthy diet. So having a genetic risk doesn't mean that you can do anything about it. I think knowing it, it's a way that you can engage yourself in adopting more healthy behavior. So it's really an engagement process. It has nothing to do with, trying to really assess your risk and you say you cannot do anything about it. It's just a motivation for people to know that they have this certain susceptibility and they can do something about it. That's really important.
To live healthier.
Well, I think there's no doubt that lifestyle and healthy lifestyle is the major portion of what you can do about maintaining or reducing your weight. And I think the genetic information, as I said, is something that could be very useful to take your own health in your hands. So I think it's difficult to put certain numbers, but I would certainly that knowing that genetic information could be certainly 20 to 25% of the information that you need to have to engage in new behaviors that will make a difference at the bottom line.
Specifically,
I think it's important because obviously there's a lot of genes that could influence your body weight and your susceptibility to gain weight. But those that we selected at Nutopia are based on very strong scientific evidence, which means that they have been shown over and over to be associated to your risk of gaining weight, or they have been shown over and over to be associated in the regulation of appetite. They have been shown over and over to be associated with eating behaviors. So based on that scientific evidence, this is what we use to select the genes that we are testing for at Nutopia.
that together.
Well, some of the genes that I'm talking about and that we are testing at Nutopia, they have not only been shown to be associated with obesity, but they have been shown to modulate the response to intervention. It could be nutrition, for example, high-fat diet, or physical activity. So some of the genes are known to modulate how people will respond to physical activity or high-fat diet, for example. So knowing that, we can say that if a person has this susceptibility gene, that person could be more responsive to a high-fat diet. And based on that scientific information, we will recommend, for example, a low-fat diet. Or we will recommend to a moderate to vigorous program of exercise because we know that gene is, the physical activity will influence the impact of that gene on the given individual. There's a lot of genes that have been shown to be to some way associated to obesity. And when I try to make the selection of the genes that are the most appropriate, this is mainly based on the strength of the evidence. For example, in science, we do what we call meta-analysis, which is basically regrouping data from multiple cohorts around the world, and we are not talking of 1,000 individuals here. We are talking of 100, 2,000, 300,000 individuals. So based on that evidence, that number of people, this is what I'm taking into account to say that if a given gene has been shown to be associated with behavior or obesity based on 300,000 people, I mean, this is kind of evidence that I'm taking into account to select the genes that we are looking at Nutopia. I think that's the key, because knowing that information for people is really the driver to get them engaged, as I said, in new behaviors. And I think that's really important. It's not about calculating or estimating a risk. That's not the issue. That's really get the information of the people can use to really say that, okay, I may be at risk because I have this or this gene, but I can do something about it. So I think the model in Utopia is really a key to that. It's the key to get people engaged, to motivate people to do something, to take their health into their hands. And I think that's the key to the solution to either lose weight or maintain your body weight. Well, I think everything is on the way you are using that genetic information. And I think that what is make the difference between Utopia and other, like genetic testing company. The way we are using information and we are transmitted to the people, it makes a difference. It's a question, as I said, to get people informed of their susceptibility and giving that information with the personalized recommendation. We know that it's important. I mean, everything about trying to lose weight is about personal intervention, personal coaching. And having genetic information on the top of this is just an information, an add-on information that can be used to favor the outcome that we are trying to achieve, which is losing weight and maintain a healthy body weight and a healthy lifestyle.